What's good, y'all? It's your boy FINESSE, back at it with another TDF perspective.
It's to die.
Hope everyone is having a blessed day. Today I'm gonna go ahead and do a part 2 to the first video I ever posted on my channel regarding real friends. I think it's safe to say that every one of us at some point has been subjected to some serious BS at the hands of a fake friend. There's nothing worse than finding out that someone you considered to be a true comrade is in fact just an opportunist or a snake. Back to the everybody hates Chris example I used in my first video. Greg was always there for Chris except for the times he was truly needed as a friend. He was there to talk about movies. He was there to talk about sports. He was there to talk about girls. But he was never there to help Chris deal with any of his adversaries. Had he been a true friend, he would have done so without hesitation. See, the harsh reality is that true friendship is extremely rare. The Bible tells us that the bonds between true friends are stronger than the bonds between brothers in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 24. And I read, "A man that hath friends must shew himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother." With that being said, I'm going to use the friendship between the rappers Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg as a backdrop for this video. Specifically, the relationship around the time of Pac's untimely death, when he was in the heat of all the East Coast, West Coast drama. From what we've seen, Pac and Snoop were pretty good friends. In the public's eye, they were viewed as a dynamic duo with amazing chemistry on the songs they did together. As a matter of fact, Snoop has attested to the fact that it was Tupac that introduced him to smoking blunts, an activity he still engages in to this very day. So yes, from the outside looking in, it's safe to make the assertion that Pac and Snoop were very good friends. As a matter of fact, one can also assert that by the time Death Row was caught in the middle of the media-propagated East Coast, West Coast hip-hop war, Pac had become somewhat of a general, and Snoop was his lieutenant. There's no telling that this is how it truly was behind the scenes, but according to their perceptions in the media, Snoop was always following Pac's lead. This makes sense because by the time Tupac had signed to Death Row, he had not only loyally inherited the beefs of the label, but he had also become the face of the label itself, stealing the spotlight from Snoop. This must have been a tough pill for Snoop to swallow. Now let's fast forward to the infamous radio interview that is said to have started the beef between the two rappers. Snoop Dogg was on Hot 97 being interviewed by Angie Martinez. This was at the height of the media-propagated East Coast-West Coast war. During the time of the interview, Tupac, as far as his diss tracks were concerned, was practically bullying Biggie and Puffy. He was also lyrically annihilating any other rappers that came for Death Row. This included rappers such as Prodigy and Havoc from Mobb Deep, Jay-Z, and Nas. At this point, everyone knew Pac had undying loyalty to Death Row, and he truly believed he was a general at war. So if he was the general, then it makes sense that Snoop would have to be his lieutenant, at least in the public's eye. During any war, the generals and lieutenants must be on the same page at all times. If not, they'll lose the war. Simple as that. Now let's get back to the Hot 97 interview. So Angie Martinez asked Snoop on the air, "How do you feel about Puffy and Biggie?" Keep in mind, Snoop at the time was viewed as Pac's right-hand man, his lieutenant. Furthermore, Snoop and the Dogg Pound had shot the video for their song New York, New York, in which they disrespected the East Coast by showing Snoop stomping on and kicking over New York buildings. So there is no denying Snoop had direct involvement in the media-propagated East Coast, West Coast hip-hop war. This is why the answer he gave to Angie's question was so shocking and egregious to many members of the Death Row camp. When asked how he felt about Puffy and Biggie, he replied to her by saying, "They my homeboys. I love them." He also went on to say, "I look at the whole East and West thing as not a Snoop Dogg problem, and it doesn't affect me." Nobody was more disgusted, offended, and betrayed by Snoop's comments on Hot 97 than Tupac himself. Think about it. Snoop, instead of having his friends back, was more concerned with branding himself as the more quote-unquote level-headed and mature individual in contrast to Pac. In other words, Snoop threw Pac under the bus. Snoop wasn't just another artist on death row. He was seen as second to no one other than Pac. He was supposed to be Pac's lieutenant. It was imperative that they both be on the same page behind the scenes and especially in the media. What Snoop pulled is what I call the fake-ass peacemaker. Individuals that do this are some of the most dangerous people you'll ever encounter. As a tireless, deft finesser, you have to carefully scrutinize the people you are loyal to. Loyalty is a gift given by the Most High. It is important to understand that not everyone has this gift. As a matter of fact, most people you will meet in life will not possess this trait. It is said that Tupac never spoke to Snoop Dogg after what he said on Hot 97. Understandably, he was angry and he was hurt. Like I said earlier, there is nothing worse than having someone you consider to be your right-hand man pull a Brutus on you. But as a TDF, I can't let Pac get off that easy. As I was doing my research on this situation, I couldn't help but ask myself, why the hell would Pac expect any loyalty from Snoop Dogg? Allow me to explain. For Tupac to expect any loyalty from Snoop Dogg sheds light on his lack of awareness and understanding regarding their overall dynamic. If you're Tupac, before you go to death row, you must be able to definitely assess that it is highly likely Snoop will begin to develop feelings of jealousy and envy towards you. Think about it. You are essentially eclipsing this man as the face and top priority of the label. You're coming in with more charisma, a greater energy, and a more powerful vocal presence in your music. Not only do you outshine Snoop as an artist, you are also recognized for it. Loyalty to you is the last thing you should be expecting from him. It is unrealistic, and some might even call it foolish. It seems Pac had a tendency to put his faith in and give his loyalty to the wrong people. You had to be aware of the energy you emit and the people you emit it around. Some people would despise you for simply being you. For those of you still in grade school, pay attention to the people around you. Definitely analyze them. If you have a quote-unquote friend that has a tendency to switch sides and try to belittle you in front of others, or a quote-unquote friend that consistently decides to play the role of the fake-ass peacemaker instead of being your lieutenant during your times of adversity, understand that they are not your friend. They will always put others ahead of you, and the sad thing is, because they have no loyalty themselves, they will see nothing wrong with their actions. As a TDF, it is imperative you never let individuals like this get too close to you mentally, physically, and definitely not spiritually. Any person who has a constant need to be cool with everyone is not worth giving your friendship. When you finally meet someone that not only shares your goals and interests, but also has the gift of loyalty, first of all, you need to thank God for putting them in your life. And secondly, you need to do everything in your power to maintain that friendship, because it is truly rare. Alright y'all, it's your boy Def. Y'all be easy, and y'all be safe out there.